Teacher, bisa dimulai ya. Okay, good morning everyone. We'll back in the last meeting ya. This last meeting for the course ya. Ini pertemuan ke-15. In the last meeting, the same with the previous meeting. One group can presentation about the material and other group can ask the question. And the second session, the first group can discuss in the breakout room and the next group can present the material. And this meeting, we will discuss about the learning theory, modern learning theory. This material is too important of you to understand is the base of the all theory psikologi and all theory of learning. Ya, di tahap berikutnya semua teori yang kalian nanti presentasikan itu akan menjadi dasar pengetahuan untuk mata kuliah yang lain. Ya, di teori belajar, kemudian pengembangan bahan ajar, kemudian di strategi mengajar tentang bagaimana orang belajar atau orang memahami pengetahuan. Ya, gitu. Nah, ini akan menjadi misalkan kayak teori belajar behavior. Nah, itu nanti akan menjadi dasar untuk model-model pembelajaran hasil strategi pembelajaran seperti itu. Ya. Oke, sebelum mulai mungkin Miss Nici ada yang disampaikan.
Okay, well done, Mr. Labe. Thank you for the opening. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Miss.
Good morning, Miss.
Good morning,
Okay.
Miss.
Thank you. So like Mr. Labe said before that for today's class is the last online meeting, like a virtual meeting for us for this international initiation class. And after that, the topic for this meeting is regarding the important theory related with the modern behavior theory. Yeah. So I think this is important because just yesterday I met with your senior from the last semester who are joined the scription for the thesis, for the last thesis for them, and after that they feel difficult to understand about the developmental theory model as a theory for their thesis, skripsi. So that's why you need to learn more carefully about this material or about this topic, because this is very useful for you to make the thesis for the last semester. Yeah, because when you have the topic regarding the learning model, you need to know more carefully or more deeply about what the theory base for this learning model. Yeah, so we will learn about the developmental cognitive theory, and after that behaviorism, and another thing that very useful for you to face your student in this class. Okay, so like previous meeting, we will watch the presentation from the each group, and after that Mr. Labe already said before that when you finish, you will get the question from the another student, and after that join the breakout room, and after that discuss about the answer. When have the misperception about the theory, me and Mr. Labe will give the feedback, and after that move to the another group. We hope that minimum group who join this presentation is 2 groups, yeah. And I hope that the group who are present for today's meeting is different with the previous week, yeah, not the same group. So all of you have the opportunity to present in this class, okay? Okay, so let's start our discussion maybe, or our presentation maybe. War, the first group who will be as a presenter for this meeting, please raise your hand maybe. Okay, the first I watch, yeah, Kadek Dharma. Please.
Okay, we're about to present our presentation. So please, Desadian, can you share the screen? Okay, we will explain about modern development theories. Before we explain about modern development theories, here's our name and member's name. My name is Kadek Dharma Saspanya dengan NIM 2111031172. And my friend, can you please explain your name? Teman-teman, katakan nama kalian.
Okay, my name is Desa Imari Dian Anita dengan NIM 2111031190. And next.
My name is Nuwayan Astriantari with NIM 21110311159. And next.
My name is Flower Nikanta dengan NIM 2111031149. Next.
My name is Wenekal Fraga with NIM 211103156.
Okay, next. Let's start the presentation. We have a theory, behaviorism. Behaviorism is one of the schools of psychology that views individuals only from the side of psychical phenomena and ignores mental aspects. In other words, behaviorism doesn't recognize the existence of intelligence, talents, interest, and individual feelings in society. Learning events merely train reflexes in such a way that they become habits controlled by individuals. Some of the laws of learning resulting from this behaviorism approach including connectionism or SR bond according to Thorndike, and then classical conditioning according to Ivan Pavlov, and operant conditioning according to B.F. Skinner, and social learning according to Albert Bandura. Next page, please. Next. So I'll explain about connectionism or SR bond according to Thorndike. So there's a Thorndike theory says that Thorndike utilized what is known as puzzle boxes to study how animals learn, that when pressed will allow the animal to escape. Thorndike would place a cat inside the puzzle box and then place a piece of meat outside the box. So as we can see in the presentation, there's pictures. So how the puzzle box works. So in this Thorndike experiment, we use animals that were kept in cage. When in cage, after that, the owner puts a place to eat outside the cage. Then after the cat is hungry, he sees food outside and he will try to eat the food, but he can't. He tried another way by feeding with where he was trying to reach the food. As shown in the picture, he was able to open the lock from the door. but the door still couldn't be opened. So he looked for another way. He saw the rope, which was the stimulus for the opening of the door, or the response. He played with the rope and realized that every time he pulled the rope, little by little, the door would open. And in the end, he found a way to open the door. Next page, please. So, in Thorndike experiments on cats, the laws of learning, including law of effect, meaning that if a response produces a satisfactory effect, the stimulus-response relationship will be stronger. Conversely, the more unsatisfactory the effect achieved by the response, the weaker the relationship between the stimulus-response. Number 2, law of readiness. This means that readiness refers to the assumption that the organism's satisfaction comes from the utilization of the conduction unit, where this unit creates a tendency that encourages the organism to do or not to do something. Number 3, law of exercise. This means that the relationship between stimulus and response will be closer if it is often trained. If it's often trained, and will decrease if it's rarely or not trained. So that's about connectionism according to Thorndike. And next presentation will be presented by another participant.
Maybe Flower have a technical meeting, and I will explain about classical conditioning according to Ivan Pavlov. The experiment conducted by Pavlov on a dog result in the laws of learning, including first, the laws of respondent conditioning is the laws of habituation, that is demanded if two kinds of stimulus are presented simultaneously or one of which serves as a reinforce. The reflexes and other stimuli will increase. Second, laws of respondent existential, namely the laws of destruction that is demanded if the reflex that has been strengthened through response. Then conditioning is brought back without presenting reinforce. Then its strength will decrease. The next, operant conditioning according to B.F. Skinner. The experiment conducted by B.F. Skinner on rats and subsequently on pigeon result in learning laws, including first, the laws of operant conditioning is that if the onset of behavior is accompanied by a reinforcing stimulus, the strength of the behavior will increase. And the second, the laws of operant extinction is that if the emergence of operant behavior has been strengthened through the conditioning process, it is not accompanied by a reinforcing stimulus, then the strength of the behavior will decrease and even be destroyed. River Muhaibin Shah 2003 state that what is made by operant is a number of behaviors that have the same effect on the environment. The response is operant conditioning occurs without being present by stimulus. but by the effect caused by the rainforest. Rainforest itself is basically a stimulus that increases the likelihood of a certain number of response, but is not intentionally help us aware of other stimuli as in a classical condition. Next, present by my friend.
Okay, thank you for the time given to me. So now I will be present about social learning according to Albert Bandura. Social learning theory, are also called observational learning theory, is a relatively new learning theory compared to other learning theories. In contrast to other behaviorists, Bandura views individual behavior as not merely an automatic reflex to the stimulus, as are born, but also as a result of reaction that arise as a result of the interaction between the environment and the individual's own cognitive schema. The basic principle of learning according to this theory is that what individuals learn, especially in social and moral learning, occurs through imitation and presenting example of behavior modeling. This theory still considers the importance of conditioning through the provision of reward and punishment, as individual will think and decide which social behavior needs to be done. Actually, there are many other figures who develop the behavioristic learning theory, such as Watson, who produced the principle of frequency of novelty, Gutierrez with the theory called contiguity theory, which products the threshold method, the Fetigue method, and the Fetigue method. Stimulation method meets the method, the introspectable response method, Miller and Dollars with impulse reduction theory. Next slide. Cognitive learning theory according to Piaget. Piaget is one of the figures who is touted as a pioneer of the constructivism. One of his contributions that is widely used as a reference for understanding individual cognitive development is the theory of the stages of individual development. According to Piaget, that individual cognitive development includes 4 stages, namely 1. Sensor-motor, 2. Pre-operational, 3. Concern operational, and 4. Format operations. Another talk from Piaget about the process of restoring individual knowledge is assimilation and accommodation. Next slide. James Atron, 2005, states that assimilation is the process by which a person takes material into their mind from the environment, which may mean changing the evidence of their sense to make it fit, and accommodation is the difference made to one's mind or concept by the process of assimilation. Next slide. Implication of cognitive development theory Piaget in learning are children language and ways of thinking are different from adults. Therefore, teachers teach using language that is in accordance with the child's way of thinking. Children will learn better if they can deal with the environment well. Teachers must be help children to interact with the environment as well as possible. The material that children have to learn should feel new but not foreign, and provide opportunity for children to learn according to their development stage. And the last is that in the classroom, children should be given the opportunity to talk to each other and discuss with their friends. So that's my material will be present by my friend.
Okay, I will continue the presentation. The theory from Robert Gagne. The assumption underlying this theory is learning is a very important factor in development. The development is the cumulative result of learning. According to Gagne, learning occurs in the process of receiving information, which is then processed to produce output in the form of learning outcomes. In information processing, there is an interaction between the internal condition and the external condition of the individual. Internal condition, namely the internal condition needed to achieve learning outcomes and cognitive process that occur in individuals. Meanwhile, external conditions are stimuli from the environment that affect individuals in the learning process. According to Gagné, the stage of the learning process include 8 parts, namely, first, motivation, second, understanding, third, acquisition, 4, storage, 5, recollection, 6, generalization, 7, treatment, and the last, feedback. Gestalt learning theory. Gestalt comes from the German language, which has the equivalent meaning as from or configuration. The point of the Gestalt view is that a particular object or event will be viewed as an organized whole according to Koffa and Kohler. There are 7 most important organizational principles, namely the first, the relationship of form and setting, or figure and ground relationship, namely assuming that each field of observation can be divided into 2, namely the figure or shape and the background. First, appearance of an object such as a size, cut, color, and so on distinguish the figure of the background. If the figure and the setting are ambiguous, there will be a blur of interpretation between the setting and the figure. And the second, proximity. Proximity, that the elements that are close together, or both time and space in the field of observation, will be viewed as one particular form. Third, similarity. Similarity, that something that has something in common tends to be seen as an object that has each other. 4, common direction. Common direction, that the elements of the field of observation that are in the same direction tend to be perceived as a certain figure or shape. 5, simplicity. Simplicity, that people tend to arrange their fields of observation in a simple shape, regular appearance, and tend to form a good whole based on symmetrical arrangement and regularity. And the last, closure. Closure, that people tend to fill in the blanks of an incomplete pattern of object or observation. And the last presentation will continue with my friend.
Okay, thank you for the times that was given to me. First of all, I want to say sorry because I cannot open my camera because I still doing some observation for KMHD event. So I'm so sorry, Mr. and Mrs.
It's okay.
Now,
Just continue.
Okay, therefore assumption that underlie the Gestalt view, namely first, molar. Behavior should be studied more than molecular behavior. Molecular behavior is behavior in the form of muscle contraction or glandular discharge, while molar behavior is behavior in relation to the external environment. Running, walking, attending lectures, playing football are some of the molar behavior. Molar behavior has more meaning than molecular behavior. The second one, the important thing in studying behavior is to distinguish between the geographic environment and the behavioral environment. Geographical environment is an environment that actually exists, while the behavior environment refers to something that is visible. For example, a mountain that looks from afar seems to be something beautiful, or behavior environment, when in fact it is an environment full of dense forests, or geographical environment. The third one is the organism does not react to local stimuli or elements or a part of the event, but react to the whole object or event. For example, the naming of a group of stars, such as Sagittarius, Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, and so on, are examples of this principle. Another example, a cloud clump looks like a mountain or a certain animal. And next slide. The last, giving meaning to sensory stimulus, is a dynamic process and not a static reaction. The observation process is a dynamic process in providing an interpretation of the received stimuli. Application of Gestalt theory in the learning process include: first, insight experience. The second one, meaningful learning or meaningful learning. The third one, purposeful behavior. And the fourth one is the principle of living space. And the last is transfer in learning. So that's all the material that I can give to you. And now the time will given to the moderator.
So that's our presentation. We open the discussion, or somebody want to ask about our presentation.
Okay, so thank you for the Dharma Saspanya and the team for the presentation. And after that, maybe just 2 questions for this group. And after that, we will move to the another group, yeah? So maybe Dharma will choose who will give the question for your group, please, Dharma.
I think the first one who raised.
There are 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 person or 5 person already up their hands.
I choose Putu Cynthia.
Okay, Putu Cynthia and
Ketut Novitasari.
Okay, Ketut Novitasari. So Putu Cynthia and Ketut Novitasari, please open your mic, and after that give your question. And also type your question in the chat box, yeah, because sometimes the connection is not good. My connection especially, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for the time. I was to ask my ask one question. The application of behaviorist theory in learning begins with analyzing student needs, then continue visiting learning objective behavioral outcomes. So the question is, what are the learning objectives according to behaviorism? Thank you.
Okay, don't forget to type your question in the chat box, yeah. And the next is Ketut Novitasari, please.
Okay, thank you for the time. So I wanted to ask, how does classical conditioning affect in everyday life, and what the example? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Novita. And after that, please help me who are the hosts in this Zoom meeting to open the breakout room, please. And after that, put the group on the first group to the breakout room to discuss about the 2 questions for them. Putri?
The host already turned to Mr. Labe, Miss.
Okay, Mr. Labe, I have another things to do. Maybe back again to you. Please. Yeah, okay. Putri, please help the group 1 to join the breakout room. And after that, Novita, please put your question on the chat box before the first group join the breakout room, and they can copy paste the question, and after that discuss while the second group present the material. Putri, could you help us to open the breakout room? So the first question from Cynthia is regarding the behaviorism. Yeah, what are the learning objectives according to the behaviorism? And from the Novita Sari is also about the behaviorism. Yeah, how does classical conditioning affect in everyday life, and what the example? Yeah, so please discuss for the first group about this question, and after that, maybe while you prepare to join the breakout room, we will choose the second presenter. Who will be the second group for present your material regarding the theory, modern theory for the learning? Please, hands raise your hand, please. Apakah semua sudah presentasi ya? Is it already all the group present?
Yes, Miss.
Oh, okay. So this is the last group. Oh, sorry. Okay, so maybe we will waiting for the first group to discuss, and after that, maybe we will discuss about who have a misconception or maybe misunderstanding about the material. Maybe you can. Okay, my internet connection is unstable. Okay, sorry, my internet connection is unstable, maybe because it will be raining outside. So for the another group, when you make the presentation for this material, if you have maybe a misunderstanding or doesn't understand about this material, maybe you can raise your hand, and after that give the question for all of us here. Maybe one of the students will try to answer the question. Okay, Era Damayani, please.
Okay, thank you, Miss. On the law of response conditioning, which contains a required habit, what's the meaning of that, Miss? Can you explain the example of that? Thank you.
Okay, please type your question in the chat box, because my connection sometimes I can hear, sometimes doesn't hear your sound. Maybe I need to change my connection first. Please wait a moment. Okay, I'll back now. So Era, we will waiting for your question in the chat box. And the second is Diah. Diah, maybe have a question, please. Hello.
But sorry, you can hear me?
Yes. Now I can hear you.
Okay, I want to ask, but sorry, I asked with bahasa.
Okay, please.
Jadi dalam teori-teori tadi yang telah disampaikan, sebenarnya teori yang mana yang sangat mempengaruhi perkembangan anak itu sendiri, Miss?
Okay, thank you, Diah, for your question. Maybe we can have the one more question. Narsi, Narsi, because Desi already have done before from the previous presentation. Narsi Angelina Tambunan, please.
Sorry, Miss, I cannot open my mic because any trouble. I wanna check my question.
But Narsi, I can hear you right now.
Are my sound is clear?
Yeah, it's very clear.
Okay, I just wanna kepikiran about materi 13 reward. What happens when children are rewarded too often, even give excessive rewards? If that happens, how do you solve this problem? Just Miss. Thank you.
Okay, please write down your question on the chat box, yeah. Okay, for the Era question, who will be the person who will give the answer maybe before me? Is it another student already understand regarding the ERA question is regarding the what the meaning of the contain habit for the law of respondent conditioning, yeah? And for the question from Dia is related with the which theory is more powerful to the student. Yeah, there are many theory of the modern with the learning process. Which theory is more powerful for the student? And after that, for Narsi Angelina, we will stay waiting for the question in the chat box. Is there any one of you have the answer for the question, maybe from ERA or from Dia? Yeah, this is from Narsi. What happens when children are rewarded too often, even give excessive rewards? If that happens, how do you solve this problem? Yeah, there are 3 questions. Is there any one of you will try to answer the question, please? If you difficult to understand about the question, jadi pertanyaan dari ERA ya, untuk hukum dari conditioning responden itu sangat membutuhkan habit atau kebiasaan ya. Apa yang dimaksud dari hal itu ya? Contohnya bagaimana? Lalu tadi pertanyaan dia, teori apa yang paling berguna ya, paling bermanfaat untuk siswa di kelas? Ya, kemudian pertanyaan dari Narsi, jika anak-anak terlalu sering mendapatkan hadiah begitu ya, bahkan hadiah yang berlebihan begitu, bagaimana kita bisa menyelesaikan masalah tersebut ya, maunya hadiah terus gitu ya. Oke. Is there any one of you have the answer for this question, please?
May I answer
Okay.
the question?
Okay, Desi. Yeah, Desi, please. Yeah.
Can I use bahasa?
Okay, it's okay.
Okay. So in my opinion, jadi dalam dalam pendapat saya, teori yang paling berpengaruh dalam perkembangan anak itu teori belajar kognitif dan teori pemrosesan informasi. Karena dalam teori kognitif itu disebutkan bahwa perkembangan anak itu dapat ditentukan melalui eksperimen-eksperimen yang pernah mereka lakukan gitu. Jadi menurut saya dengan eksperimen yang pernah mereka lakukan, mereka jadi tahu apa yang bisa dan tidak bisa mereka lakukan dan apa yang benar dan salah begitu. Terus kalau untuk teori pemrosesan informasi itu menurut saya itu juga berpengaruh karena dari informasi yang mereka dapatkan, mereka bisa berkembang gitu. Misalkan mereka mendapatkan informasi yang buruk, mungkin mereka akan berkembang menjadi anak yang buruk juga nantinya. Tapi jika mereka mendapatkan informasi yang baik semasa mereka berkembang dan bertumbuh, mungkin mereka akan menjadi anak yang baik juga begitu. Itu aja pendapat saya. Terima kasih.
So Desi Pratiwi vote for the cognitive theory from Piaget, and after that the information processing theory. Yeah, is there any different answer or different opinion with Desi, please? You can answer in the Indonesian language. It's okay. No, same opinion with Desi. Kompak sekali ya. Is there any different opinion, please? Is it really that the cognitive development from Piaget and after that the processing information theory really useful for the student or for the children for the learning process? But we still have another theory, yeah, from Skinner, from Gestalt, from Thorndike, yeah. Is there the theory is not useful, but why still exists until now? Yeah? No? Hello? If no, say no, because I still waiting until right now.
For me, no, Miss.
No, so you have the same opinion with Desi, yeah. Regarding the questions, which one the theory is more powerful? Each the theory still have the competitor until right now, yeah. Someone who didn't like the cognitive development from Piaget said, Piaget did the research regarding the cognitive stage, cognitive development stage with his children, yeah. So Piaget from previous research did this research with his children, and after that he do the observation to the children, give his children to do some of the experiments thing, and after that doing the checklist and give the summary about, my children have the 4th stage of the cognitive development. So maybe the another children on the another part of the world will have the same thing. Yeah, that's the competitor said about the theory. And sometimes for the behaviorism, why human can be same can have same behavior with the animal? Because before Skinner used the animal to do these experiments. Yeah, human doesn't have like analytic thinking. Animal doesn't have like norm or value, but why the Skinner used this animal, and after that with the summary same with the human. Yeah, even the best theory in the modern theory will have the competitor. Yeah, which one is more powerful? Yeah, it's depend on the case. Yeah, it's depend on the case. Yeah, for the example, yesterday I have discussion with your senior member in the PGSD. Yeah, she make the scriptsy or thesis with the topic how to make the learning model to increase the ability of the student in the 5th grade to do counting in the math, yeah, in the math topic. So I asked to her, do you understand what the characteristic of the student on the 5th grade? Ya, jadi bagaimana karakteristik anak di kelas 5 SD untuk belajar menghitung? Ya, nah, so she difficult to answer, and after that I ask again the question, what the stage of the cognitive development for the children on the 5th stage? Yeah, that's why in this case we use cognitive development, because counting on the math theory is very related with the cognitive development. Ya, jadi pada kasus ini kita menggunakan teori kognitifnya Piaget karena ngomongin tentang grade kelas 5 SD. Ya, jadi dan ini materi yang ingin dibahas adalah tentang cara berhitung anak kelas 5 SD pada pelajaran matematika. Itu kan kemampuan kognitif sekali. Ya, that's why I advise her to use the cognitive development theory from Piaget. But for the another case, yeah, one of the student, your senior too, have the problem in the school that the children doesn't have a skill to give the concentrate and do the attention for the material in the class. Yeah, which the theory, from your opinion, which the theory can be useful for this case? Ya, jadi menurut kalian dengan kasus misalnya di sekolah ada anak-anak yang sangat tidak bisa fokus untuk memberikan perhatian pada gurunya di kelas. Ya, kira-kira menurut kalian teori yang mana yang useful, yang berguna untuk masalah ini? Ayo, siapa yang mau menjawab? Silakan raise your hand, please raise your hand. If you have the answer or if you have the opinion, which theory is more powerful or more useful for the case that the student doesn't have good attention and a good concentration in the classroom. Please, Era still raise your hand?
No, I
okay.
didn't
Is there
find
any?
the answer yet.
Okay, so which one? Ya, teori yang mana kira-kira kalau ada anak di kelas yang tidak bisa fokus? Pakai teori apa yang cocok? Teori kognitif kah? Is it okay to use cognitive development stage from Piaget? Is it okay to use a behaviorism? You still kitu-kitu? Is it you understand or you didn't didn't agree with my opinion? Yeah, which one? From your perspective. Putri, menurut Putri gimana? Ada nggak Putri di sini? Saya hafalnya Putri aja ya, gampang soalnya namanya. Nggak ada ya Putri di sini ya? Oke, Wida, have any opinion from your learning learning experience before?
I'm sorry, Miss, but relating to your explanation, actually I couldn't get what do you mean because I lost my focus. I get my cramps on my stomach right now. Actually, it's really painful. I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry Wida, maybe you need to rest ya after this class ya. Okay, so another student, Sabina, what your opinion regarding the case? If the student, you have the student in the classroom and 3 of the student doesn't have a good attention and good concentration to the material in the classroom, which theory of the learning you will use for this student? To taking care of this student. Please, Sabina, can you answer?
Maybe both of the theory we can use to regarding to the maybe student cannot focus in our maybe class.
Which theory, Sabina? Sorry.
Both of the theory.
All of the theory. Which one? Both is between A and B. Which theory?
I also lose my focus, Miss, because before.
Okay. All of you lose your focus. Yeah. Okay. Me too. I lose my focus too. Yeah. Okay. Jadi for this case, we can use behaviorism to give the student like reinforcement or reward or punishment. Yeah. Like a timeout in this classroom to make them learn about the new behavior, target behavior for this classroom. But when we make the target behavior for this student, we need also learn about how age is it, ya. Jadi umurnya dia berapa, so we can relate it with the cognitive development stage too, because from the cognitive development stage, they also explain about how the duration for the attention for the student in the early childhood or maybe on the second stage of the elementary school, and how long the duration for the concentration for the student, ya. Jadi kita nggak bisa bilang satu teori itu tuh more powerful than another theory gitu loh. Jadi it's depend on the case, it's depend on the background of the student, ya. It's depend also from the how the setting of the classroom too. That's why there are theory regarding the information processing theory, and after that the Gestalt theory, ya. Yeah, it's not only just one theory can be more powerful for the another theory, but we can use this combined theory to follow up the case from the classroom. Okay, is it clear? Dia still here? I remember that. Okay, is it clear for you, Dia, Elsa, Frozen?
This is clear, Miss.
Okay, thank you. So for the another question from Era. On the law of respondent conditioning, which contain required habit, what the meaning of that? Giving the example for that. Is there any student can answer this question or have the opinion for this question, please? Do you think this modern theory is difficult for you? Yeah? Yeah, it's difficult too for me. Yeah. When I'm in the undergraduate student, I learn about this theory. What kind of theory is it? Yeah, too abstract for me. Yeah, that's why when we have a meet each other, we need to have the experiment to learn more carefully and more detail about the theory. Ya, jadi waktu zaman saya S1 ini juga sulit menurut saya karena terlalu abstrak kalau cuma jelasin bla 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 definisinya, lalu bagaimana rumusannya, bagaimana hubungannya begitu ya. Tapi ketika dosen akhirnya mengajak kita untuk bereksperimen langsung di kelas begitu ya, menghadirkan mengenai kalau kita pakai Gestalt itu kamu melihat gambar, misalnya my lecture giving the example that when they give the picture, which one you choose as a background, which one you choose as the center, ya, when we talk about the Gestalt. That's why we need to more do the experiment for this, actually for this theory. Yeah. Also for the cognitive development theory, when I was in the undergraduate student, I learned and go to the elementary school to do the observation and doing the experiment like the Piaget too. Yeah. So that's why it's very more difficult. Yeah. I understand your condition. Yeah, but please try to connect it with the condition in the classroom. Yeah, you need to be remember from your past experience. Yeah, from Era Damayani, I will answer your question. Yeah, what the meaning of the habit? Yeah, for the behaviorism, for the all of the behaviorism theory, someone will get the reward or someone will get the punishment. Yeah, someone will get the reinforcement. Is very related with the one of the behavior target. Yeah, for the example, like my children, yeah, before from the previous meeting, yeah, I already told to you that my first child, yeah, my son, really love dinosaurs, especially T-Rex. Yeah, when we want him to do our target behavior, we need to prepare T-Rex to make him move, yeah, to make him do this activity. That's the reward. But the punishment, I will reduce the time for watching the television related with the T-Rex, yeah, to make him will be feel punished, yeah, because he doesn't try to do the target behavior. Yeah, when this situation continually every day and consistent, yeah, the keyword is consistent and every time, yeah. So this is required habit. Ya, jadi ketika diulang-ulang terus akan menjadikan ini sesuatu kebiasaan gitu loh. Like the another things. When we have maybe one of the cat, yeah, and we eat on the family room, and after that the cat comes, we try to give the cat our food. The cat will learn about how to get the food, yeah, and learn about the time to get the food. Yeah, this is required habit, ya, kebiasaan. Jadi ketika kita ingin mengubah suatu perilaku, penting sekali kita mengetahui karakteristik orang tersebut, gitu ya. Misalnya sekarang apa yang kalian sukai, apa yang menjadi hal yang tidak menyenangkan buat kalian, itu yang kita pelajari. Dan ketika ingin mengubah perilaku menjadi suatu target perilaku yang diinginkan, kita perlu menyiapkan kebiasaan supaya terus-menerus itu terjadi. Lama-lama akhirnya the time of will be make the reward doesn't have the effect anymore, gitu ya. Jadi tanpa perlu ada reward aja dia sudah mau, gitu. For the example, my son, yeah, for the first time when he learn about the toilet training, I will give T-Rex come, yeah. I will buy the apa ya, kayak dudukan toilet ya, yang bergambar T-Rex sehingga dia mau naik gitu ke toilet, ya. Sekarang karena dia sudah terbiasa dengan toilet itu, nggak perlu dudukan toiletnya yang bergambar T-Rex, dia mau. Kalau pipis ya pasti di toilet itu gitu. Itu namanya required habit. Ya. So for the behaviorism, the keyword is a habit and consistent. Ya, konsistensi. Begitu. Kira-kira Era paham enggak?
Paham, Miss, paham.
Oke. Okay, for the next question, Narsi. I want to ask, what happens when children are rewarded too often, even give excessive rewards? If that happens, how do you solve these problems? Is there anyone can answer the question? Please raise your hand. Okay, Cynthia Wulandari and Wimas, please. Okay, please, Cynthia Wulandari and Wimas, try to answer the Narsis question.
Okay, Miss. May I try to answer?
Yeah, please.
Thank you for the time. I will answer Narcis's question. I think there is a lot of physical, logical impact on children if they are always get a reward in the future. Among there's children's attitude can get worse. Give a promise usually so that the child has a good attitude in the future. This is often done by parents to control children so that children always behave according. But children will not understand what parents want. Children only understand that if behaves well, he will get the gift he wants. I think usually if the promised gift is not kept, it's fear that the child's attitude will be even worse than before. And then children don't understand the meaning of success. And then next is children will be flopped into children who like to demand. I think there will be a time when children will choose the gifts they want for themselves. If we want our children to be nice all the time, we have to give a present at that time as well. So it is likely that if the children does not behave according to what the parents want, the parents will not give the child gift to the child. Will make child a predator. Every child has done what he thinks is good. He will demand a reward for every action. In addition, if things like this are allowed to continue in the future, the relationship between children and parents will also become cold. Therefore, it is better to teach the child to do everything well and sincerely. Give gifts not too often and give them at certain times, such as when he gets a very cool achievement, while he doing a good things, and give gifts that we think will be needed. It is development is like a brain sharpening games like puzzle or books. I think that will be helping. Thank you, Miss.
Okay, very complex and complete answer, yeah. I hope Narsi can understand, yeah. So the another person who will have an answer is I already choose one of you, but I don't remember who are the answer to answer the question. Dia, maybe Dia, please open your mic and try to answer. Maybe you have a different opinion or maybe same opinion with the Wimas, yeah, with Wimas. Okay, Dia.
Okay, I have same opinion with Wimas. Di mana seperti yang kita tahu bahwa terkadang anak akan melakukan sesuatu jika diberikan reward saja. Namun Perlu diketahui bahwa reward bukan berupa materi saja, tetapi juga bisa diberikan dalam bentuk pujian dan perhatian. I think that's all, Miss.
Okay, thank you. Is it clear for you, Narsi, now?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, thank you. So I don't need to explain more detail, yeah, because I think all of you already more attention for these behaviors and theory. So for the next session is first group will give the answer for the two of the question from your friend, yeah. For the first question from Cynthia and the second question from Novita, please. The group team from Dharma, Kadek Dharma, please help us to answer the question.
Okay, I'm here to answer the Cynthia question. So there's a learning objectives according to behaviorism are implemented with model called ABCD models that includes audience, behavior, condition, and degree. So audience is learning objectives should always specify the audience they are intended to serve. Usually the audience are participants in a given training program. For example, in the phrase, learners will be able, the learners are the audience. So the objective should describe the exact intended audience. Number two, behavior. Behaviors are observable actions that are supposed to be accomplished by the end of a training session or program and should be demonstrated during the program. To write a clear learning objective, it is important to carefully choose the most appropriate word that describe the behavior displayed by the participant in the program after the training is done. The action verb that forms part of your objective should be able to fully describe the specific behavior that is expected from a participant after undergoing a training program. Number three, condition. A condition in an objective specifies the condition under which given task should be performed. These are the actual condition a given task should be take place. The condition may include time and place. Number four is a degree or standard. Learning objective should be identified to what standards a given skill or knowledge must be achieved by the learner. In other words, the standard used in objective gives the proficiency to which the training will elicit in the learners. It is therefore important for you to give the specifics of how a learner will be able to perform a given task in terms of quality and quantity after undergoing a given training program. That's all. Do you get it, Cynthia?
Yes, this is a good your opinion. Thank you.
Okay. So the second question will be answered by Desadia.
Okay, I will answer question Novita. How does classical conditioning affect in everyday life, and what the example? That's my question. In the study of psychology, conditioning is the process of pairing two stimuli together so that if one stimulus can trigger a reaction, the other can do the same to simply be learned association. You can usually find classical conditioning scenarios in everyday life. For example, whenever you come home wearing a baseball cap, you take your child to the park to play. So whenever your child sees you come home with a baseball cap, He is excited because he has associated your baseball cap with a trip to the park. And more example, celebrities in advertising. Celebrities endorsement are nothing new. Advertisers are taking advantage of our positive association with these celebrities in order to sell more product and service. Michael Jordan doesn't have anything to do directly with Nike shoes, just Jennifer
Michael Jordan, not
okay.
Michelle, Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan doesn't have anything to do directly with Nike shoes, just Jennifer Aniston is inherently linked to smart water. Potential customer then see a bottle of smart water and start to experience the same positive feelings as when they see Jennifer Aniston. That's all, Novita. It is clear?
Hello? Novita, are you still here?
Can you hear my voice, Miss?
Yeah. Now I can hear your voice, please.
I think that's clear, Miss. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the answer from the Novita's question, yeah, about the classical conditioning. Classical conditioning is a very old theory, yeah, but still effect in everyday life, yeah. You can make your example from your daily activity, yeah. How the stimulus come to you and how about your response, yeah. So I think, is it already clear about the modern theory of the learning? Is there any question regarding this theory? If you doesn't have the question, maybe I will give you the question, yeah? It's very simple question. From your perspective, which one is more understandable for you for this theory? Please raise your hand. Yang paling mudah dipahami yang mana ya, kira-kira dari teori-teori tersebut? Which one is the more understandable for yourself? Hello? Are you still there? Semua nggak ada yang paham kah? Sehingga sulit untuk menjawab?
I think
Desi?
Information processing theory, Miss.
Okay, Desi vote for information processing theory, yeah, from the first answer too, you said about the information processing theory. Another student, which one is more understandable and can make you understand very clearly and you already have the example, please?
For me, behaviorism.
Behaviorism. Cynthia vote for behaviorism. And Era, vote for?
I'm sorry, Miss. I vote.
Ayo, rebutan.
Ya, Cynthia sudah.
Era first.
Okay, Era first.
For me, behaviorism theory.
Okay, behaviorism. Another student, please. Novita.
For me,
unmute.
Sorry, Miss. For me, behaviorism theory too, but I'm still a little confused for the law in the behaviorism.
Yeah, law of the behaviorism is more difficult to understand. You need to do the experiments, yeah, to more carefully understand about this theory. Okay, maybe later we will have the opportunity to do the experiment because our teacher here, Mr. Labe, is the ketua lab ya di fakultas. Jadi bisa mungkin nanti memfasilitasi kita untuk melakukan eksperimen sehingga mahasiswa lebih paham gitu deh dengan teori ini. Khusus untuk kelas IKI mungkin ya. Okay, is there any one of you will give the vote for the theory, please? Another student?
May I give my opinion, Miss?
Yeah, Cynthia, please.
I understand about behaviorist theory for classical conditioning approach by Ivan Bloch. And the application of this method, for example, in a lesson, there are students who are afraid of learning to be transformed into sense of pleasure in learning mathematics. Jadi di teori ini, jika seorang siswa itu takut terhadap pelajaran matematika, jadi di metode ini akan menggunakan someone become phobic about something. Oke, Miss, that's my opinion.
Ngabut sekali ya, Cynthia ya, kejar-kejaran kayaknya. Oke, thank you Cynthia, classical conditioning and behaviorism. Grup cowok nih, Eka Agus, Dharma, kemudian siapa lagi cowok lainnya? Mahadipta, Punia Darmika, what is your opinion? Please.
I think behaviorism theory about SR bond, stimulus response bond, is I think easy to understand for me, because it's about stimulus that can that have a response. So like the experiment of sorry, I forget the
Skinner atau Red Pavlov. No. Who else? Mr. Labe, maybe Mr. Labe, experiment of Mr. Labe. No. Pavlov, anjingnya Pavlov.
No, the one who use cat, the one I explain, I forget.
Oke. Pikun ya, udah ya, gara-gara grogi mungkin. Iya. Oke, thank you Dharma. How about Agus Prayoga, Punia, and Mahadipta?
In answer, Miss?
Yes, Mahadipta, please.
I think it's behavior theory, because with this theory of learning, it is the well suited to an ability that contains element of speed, spontaneity, and durability. I think that all.
Okay, thank you, Mahadipta. Mahadipta also fought for behaviorism. How about Punia and Agus Prayoga?
For me is behaviorism, Miss.
Oke, behaviorism. Jadi ini anak-anaknya Skinner Pavlov ini ya. Agus Prayoga, what about you?
I think behavioristic.
Okay, behavioristic. Okay, I hope maybe on your skripsi or your thesis, we'll use this theory for your experiments, for your thesis. So you can learn more detail about this theory and make this theory more useful for your condition. Okay, maybe Mr. Labo will give some of the opinion. Mr. Labo vote for Wu.
Okay, sorry, Miss. What the question?
Yeah, Mr. Labo vote for Wu. Maybe vote for me. Vote for Piaget, vote for Gestalt, vote for the Thorndike, Bandura.
I will not put one of the theory, because all of theory is very important for you, not just behavioristic. You just know about the another theory like constructivism. This I cannot see you in your group explain about teori konstruktivisme. Hal ini sangat penting selain behavioristik tadi. But memang kalau tadi mungkin dari pemahaman Bu Nici teman banyak behavioristik. Nah, nanti saya harap juga kalian akan memahami teori yang lain karena nanti akan sangat penting kalian gunakan di saat seperti disampaikan tadi di awal oleh Bu Nici. Apalagi nanti di akhir di skripsi ini kalian akan menjadikan teori belajar itu sebagai baseline dari kalian membahas nanti secara detail tentang skripsi kalian. Behavioristik tadi memang dijelaskan itu menjadi dasar di semua teori ini tidak ada yang jelek, tidak ada yang bagus, itu tergantung kondisi. Istilahnya ini obatnya, obat kan tidak semuanya sama. Obat sakit perut mungkin kita tidak bisa gunakan untuk sakit kepala, tapi di aspek yang lain saat orang sakit kepala kita berikan itu akan sangat efektif. Nah, jadi mungkin di materi juga yang kami share juga tidak kami lupa menambahkan teori yang lain ya. Ada senam behavioristik, kognitif, kemudian konstruktivisme dan humanistik. 4 teori itu harus kalian pelajari nanti lebih dalam lagi karena ini akan menjadi akar dari pengetahuan yang lain kan begitu Indonesia. Misalkan konstruktivisme itu apa, itu bagaimana teori tentang bagaimana membentuk pengetahuan secara mandiri. Nah, ini akan menjadi akar dari semua model-model pembelajaran, apalagi kalau sekarang di K13 kemudian nanti akan ada kurikulum baru segala macam, itu akar dari konsep pembelajaran nantinya ya. Jadi nanti akan berkaitan dengan abad 21, 4C dan yang lain. Nah, itu akan ke sana arahnya. Mungkin tadi sebutkan sama Nici. Jadi sih kalau belajar di awal nih ngapain saya belajarnya masih abstrak, memang abstrak ya. Tapi nanti saat kalian lebih dalam ke materi yang lain di cabang-cabangnya ya, bagaimana teori ini diimplementasikan, nah kalian baru bisa akan lebih paham lagi mengaitkan. Oh, ini ternyata yang dulu kita pelajari di kelasnya Bu Nici dan Pak Labo. Oh, ternyata arahnya ke sini. Oh, ternyata ke sini. Nah, itu nanti akan menguatkan pemahaman kalian. Ya, kalau mungkin di tahap ini mungkin masih tidak memahami semua ya, mungkin sedikit-sedikit lah. Nah, tapi saya harap nanti lama-lama menjadi bukit ya.
Lama-lama ditambang ya.
Ya. Karena seperti teori belajarnya kognitifnya Piaget ya, tidak memandang pengetahuan dari sisi parsial, tetapi menjadi satu kesatuan. Jadi bagaimana orang belajar dalam teorinya kognitifnya Piaget itu adalah orang belajar secara keseluruhan. Nah, ini kan kalian baru sedikit parsial-parsial. Nah, nanti kalian belajar itu nanti berkaitan dengan kuliah yang lain dan materi yang lain. Jadi ini bukan hal yang terpisah. Ini dasar sebenarnya, makanya kenapa mata kuliah ini dan materi ini diberikan di semester awal, karena ini akan menjadi dasar untuk materi yang lain. Nah, itu ya sedikit tambahan, and tidak memilih satu di antara.
Wah, abstain ini ya, jangan-jangan di pemilu abstain juga nih Mr. Labe ya. Okay, thank you Mr. Labe for your opinion. So that's all I think for this today's topic ya. I hope you can get the more knowledge about the modern learning theory ya. So you need to more deeply to learn maybe from the article or maybe from the book ya regarding this theory, because when just you read the definition, is it very difficult to you to understand ya. But when you get the example and maybe you have the article from the journal, yeah, with this theory, you will more deeply understand about how this theory is very useful for the learning process in the classroom. Okay, so thank you very much for your participation for this class, yeah, because I think is it very good initiation, yeah. Even though sometimes talk in Indonesian language, sometimes talk in the English language, but is it a good opportunity for us to learn in the a new environment, yeah, for the international class. And I hope for the next semester you will still stay here, yeah, in this class, yeah, not doing the dropout maybe, or maybe ngambul gitu ya. Not to join this class, and I hope you can get more knowledge and more experience to talk in English, yeah, because in this age, yeah, just learn about one language is apa ya, kuno sekali gitu ya. Sekarang minimal menguasai 2 bahasa ya. Ada yang trilingual juga begitu. Jadi tetap bertahan ya di kelas ini ya. Kalian sudah bagus sekali untuk memulai kelas internasional ya, inisiasi kelas internasional ini. Maybe Mr. Labo will give some of the explanation about the final exam, maybe, because this is our last session. Please, Mr. Labo, maybe,
Okay,
and
yeah.
also close the class, yeah?
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Ms. Nietzsche. Information for final exam, we can inform you in group, ya. The final exam can nanti kita akan lakukan bersama dengan kelas lain, ya. Nanti saya mungkin diskusi dulu dengan Kak Prodi untuk kelas IKI apakah akan dibedakan atau nanti sama dengan kelas yang lain itu. Tapi waktunya biasanya nanti akan dijadwalkan secara serentak, ya gitu. Nah, for this class, maybe a closing statement for the semester in this class, ya. I think it's very happy Kak Prodi give me kesempatan ya untuk mengajar di kelas ini, ya. Pada awalnya saya memang apa ini ya itu kok saya diminta ngajar kelas ini gitu. And all of my friend know what the skill of the speak English is not very good, yeah. But I see the jadwal, ya. Saya dipasangkan dengan misi. Oke, I choose the kesempatan ini. Nah, di awal ya memang agak agak takut juga yang ini. Ini nama baik saya nih depan mahasiswa. Tapi I learn many about in this class, ya. Jadi bahwa belajar ya kita nggak mandang ya ini mahasiswa, ini dosen, ya. Saya juga belajar. Dan memang ini mungkin sudah menjadi tantangan saya juga untuk meningkatkan kemampuan untuk my skill, ya, to speak more than the last day, and yeah. So after I see the meeting with Miss Nietzsche, it give me question, what's your level English? Saya udah meningkat nggak? Nah, jadi sehingga ini juga menjadi tantangan bagi saya. Jadi itu mungkin yang bisa kami sampaikan, kami mendampingi selama semester ini. Dan seperti yang katakan Miss C tadi, saya harap kalian tidak tidak mengusulkan pindah kelas lagi, ya. Pindah kelas kemudian misalnya Kak Prodi tetap di kelas ini, nanti sama-sama belajar, ya. Ini hanya masalah bahasa dan wajar karena ini bukan bahasa ibu kalian. Saya juga menyadari dan bahkan harusnya saya yang merasa lebih malu, ya, karena kalian semua lebih pintar dalam hal kemampuan bahasa dibandingkan saya. Dan saya mengambil kesempatan ini dan merasa malu. Harusnya kalian juga tidak merasa malu jika kendala bahasa gitu. Ya, mudah-mudahan juga semester depan diberi kesempatan juga mendampingi kalian di mata kuliah yang lain, dan tentunya saya juga tidak mau sendiri, nanti saya akan diharap mendampingi, karena nanti kalau saya sendiri saya nggak belajar, ya. Nah, partner saya untuk belajar, termasuk kalian juga. Ya, itu terima kasih, dan mohon maaf sering bolong-bolong kami, ya, karena ini
pejabat itu Mr. Labunya pejabat dia soalnya, ya. Pejabat di mana-mana itu soalnya, jadi aduh.
Sibuk. Miss ini ring satunya, ya, saya ring.
Saya The Ring, The Ring, ya. Yeah. Film Jepang yang ngeri itu, yang horor itu.
Ya itu, ya, mungkin ada dari mahasiswa, ya, kayaknya tadi kita aja ngomong itu.
Iya, nih kita kayak jualan obat kita, ya, dari tadi. Maybe one or two of you will give like feedback for this class, maybe
for me and for Nietzsche, like silakan.
In Indonesian language, okay. In English, okay. With bilingual, okay too.
Tidak mengurangi nilai, ya, tenang aja.
Iya, enggak ngurangi nilai. Bapak sama Ibu ini kerjaannya bercanda aja gitu, boleh kok.
Kalau mau bahasa Mandarin juga boleh.
Iya,
Korea juga bisa. Kami ngerti kok.
Silahkan adik-adik.
Permisi.
Ya, silakan.
Mau ke belakang?
Enggak, saya mau menyampaikan feedback. So, thank you for the opportunity. I'm happy to be part in this class, and
bangga gitu. Jadi pada awalnya saya mengira Pak Labe itu dosen yang galak, tapi ternyata tidak gitu. Dan dan mata kuliah PPD ini menjadi salah satu mata kuliah favorit saya untuk saat ini. Sekian.
Masa.
Terima kasih. Iya benar. karena
Kayaknya karena kita belum UAS ini kayaknya.
Iya, karena mungkin belum puas. Gitu.
Ya, kalau sudah UAS mungkin beda ya.
Mungkin.
Ya,
ya, sekian Pak. Terima kasih.
Kok sekian jadinya?
Malu loh dia
Malu
loh,
ya,
Pak Labe
ya.
sih.
Oke, silakan yang lain.
Excuse me, Miss.
Sabrina, oke, saya dari tadi nunggu Sabrina sebenarnya.
Sabina Nusa Penida, silahkan.
Nggak enak nunjuk Sabrina ya.
So, in my opinion, this class is really fun and attractive. Mrs. Labe, Mr. Labe, and Mrs. Nietzsche also really fun and make this class is not really bored, like boring. And then I think we have to meet and then do many practice a lot to more understand about this matter, all of material if we do offline next.
Oke, jadi Sabina pengen ngulang kelas ini jadinya ya semester
Bukan,
tahun
next
depan
semester.
ya. Tahun depan untuk belajar lebih dalam lagi gitu loh ya tentang materi ini. Boleh. Request itu Mr.
Saya
Labe.
semangat jadi, saya lebih semangat.
Iya. Boleh ngulang Sabina bakal remedi dia ngambil kelas ini.
So, Mr. Labe, that's why as Sabina said, that's why I love this mata kuliah because you are very fun while teaching us.
Me or Nietzsche?
You guys,
Mr.
Labe.
Thank you very much, all of you.
Cocok nanti tampil ya nge-podcast nanti.
Ya, kayaknya semua ini. Biar bisa ketemu. Oke. Nah,
Bercanda.
Ya, mungkin next kesempatan ya, mungkin kita bisa diskusi secara offline ya. Jadi pengen juga nih bagaimana improve my English skills. And offline situasi meet with you, all of you maybe ya. Kemudian tidak berkurang jumlahnya ya, tetap 22 ya. 24 ya.
22 Pak Labe, kita 2 tambahannya bukan?
Enggak, ada yang izin kayaknya hari ini.
Oh ya izin ya.
24 ya Putri?
Iya Pak, 24 orang.
Oke, 24 orang. Oke, ya. Karena
yang cowok dong, yang cowok satu.
Ya, cowok.
Yang cowok mesti dipilih terus, pemalu semua ini.
1, 2, 3. 3,
4 cowoknya.
4 ya.
Ayo, nggak bakal selesai nih kuliahnya kalau nggak ada yang ngomong yang cowok nih. Kita tunggu-tungguan.
Alright.
Dharma mengalah, silahkan.
Mudah-mudahan tidak forget lagi ya.
So this is a new experience to me. Belajar tentang teori, banyak teori, jadi saya merasa menemukan hal baru di sini dan juga dosennya juga asik-asik ya, Pak Labe dan juga Miss Nietzsche. Nggak terlalu tegang jadinya belajar seperti ini.
Tapi saya tegang Dharma ngajar di sini.
Tapi kadang juga tegang sih kalau misalnya buat presentasi itu nggak ada yang mau maju, terpaksa ditunjuk juga tegang sebenarnya. Jadi ya itu saja sih pengalaman baru dan juga pengetahuan baru bagi saya. Dan juga banyak teman-teman di sini yang lain juga mampu untuk belajar bersama sehingga kami nantinya juga bisa mendapat pengetahuan baru lagi. Itu saja sih. Semoga juga kedepannya saya bisa lebih bisa kata-kata Itu
Susah
aja sih,
ya.
Kak.
Ya, kayak orang PDKT susah ya nyusun kata-katanya ya, nggak
Iya.
apa-apa.
Ya, itu saja sih menurut saya.
Oke, thank you
Oke.
Dharma. Oke, Mr. Labe, maybe we will close
Iya.
this class.
Oke, ya baik, terima kasih Dharma tadi ya, Nice juga. Mungkin sedikit tadi pesan-pesan aja, pesan suara sedikit ya. Jadi ini merupakan biar kerennya milestone awal kalian ya untuk mendapatkan kesempatan lain yang lebih bagus ya. Mungkin di akhir pertemuan ini saya dan Michi akan menjadi ingatan. Saya ingin nanti di akhir perkuliahan kalian di PGSD kami mendapatkan berita one of you in this class get beasiswa luar negeri ya. Kami ingin mendengar salah satu dari kalian, kalau bisa semuanya, berita bagus itu dari kelas inisiasi internasional, karena dengan ini kan sudah mendapat kesempatan bagus untuk mendapatkan kesempatan-kesempatan lain yang lebih bagus juga ya, entah itu nanti magang, entah itu nanti menjadi pertukaran mahasiswa, entah itu nanti menjadi volunteer dan yang lain-lain. Ini kesempatan bagus bagi kalian semua. Saya harap kalian dapat menjadikan motivasi sehingga nanti mungkin target kalian adalah saya ingin mendapatkan beasiswa luar negeri, dan itu peluangnya sangat-sangat besar. Nanti kalau kalian dengar ceritanya Bu Nici mungkin bagaimana jalan-jalan ya, bukan kuliah, itu mungkin akan lebih semangat lagi. Ya, sebelum kalian menyesal nanti ya. Jadi karena setelah kuliah S1 kalian bisa jalan-jalan, bukan kuliah ya, jalan-jalan dengan gratis. Pulangnya dapat ijazah. Nah, apalagi kesempatan yang kalian sia-siakan. Ya, itu mungkin pesan terakhir saya, dan kami akan menunggu berita bagus itu di sekarang 4 tahun lagi. Oke ya, 4 tahun lagi. Oke. Saya rasa sudah banyak kami memberikan kata-kata ya.
Iya, Mr. Labe lagi senang dia ngomong.
Iya. Malah sudah siang dan sudah jamnya makan siang ya. Jadi saya ucapkan terima kasih untuk kalian semua. Semoga semakin sukses di semester depan dan tetap semangat dan tetap sehatnya. Saya tutup dengan Om Santi. Terima kasih, Michi.
Oke, thank you Mr. Labe. Ganbate.
Ganbate. Sisi.
Bye. Sisi. Gongsi pacar.
Terima kasih ya. Putri, terima kasih.
Oke, pamit ya.
Pamit ya.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Ya, terima kasih semuanya. Sehat selalu.